Hey guys, this is Ras and Nique. We are here for She Wolf Alchemy. And as you guys might notice, for some of the OG listeners, Nique is going to be filling in for Ashley. As you guys know, Ashley has started her maternity. If you listen to any of our first two seasons, you are familiar with Nique. Nique was my original co-host. She's my best friend. And so she is going to be stepping in. And today we're doing another questions that nobody asked us. We actually haven't done one in a while. So this is actually going to be kind of fun. It's been probably like 3 or 4 months since we did a question
Yeah,
nobody asked us
we used
episode.
to do them all the time.
So I got the first question. The title of the first question is I feel like I will never be the main character. And it goes, I'm now in my mid 30s. I spent most of my life trying to fit in, trying to be somebody, going along to get along. I have no direction. It feels like I'm stuck in a hole and I just want to not be here anymore. I don't even know what to say. I feel like I would be better equipped to fit into society if I wasn't me. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and severe depression, but I think that's just nonsense. I'm just below average, plain Jane, who's emotionally immature with anger management issues and triggers. I am a useless waste of space, and no matter how hard I try, I never have been at the top of anything. People have come and gone in my life, and I see how they progress. Meanwhile, I have been driving the same car since I was 19, and it's not even mine. I have a professional degree, but I have no job. I just feel like a complete waste of space. I am embarrassed to even speak about myself or what is going on in my life. And it seems that their questions is just kind of like what to do about feeling like this.
Mhm.
Um, and I picked this particular question just because I feel like, one, I'm hearing this question a lot as of late. And I do think that social media has a big part to do with it. Even on MySpace days, I was in like high school and stuff. Even I'm
Mhm.
thinking back to me and you, like our first couple of years of college. Like I don't remember really paying that much attention to what other people had.
No,
Like I wasn't looking at my peers and having pressure because we
you
were
know what?
all on the same type of level for real, for real.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? We didn't really like look and see what the latest. We like put our one picture on that day, and the rest of the time, our phones was gone. Like
Look,
we just had a good time and was present in the moment.
yeah, yeah, we
Now it's
took
not so much.
pictures before the club, and then we went out. We had fun. You might take a picture online, you might
Mm-hmm.
take a picture in the bathroom, and then you had fun in the club. You woke up the next morning to make sure the
You're
club
done.
photographer did not put an embarrassing picture of you up, and he did, and he knew better. He knew that picture was horrible, and he put it up anyway.
Yes.
But like that was it. And then you had that. And then like, yeah, you eventually photo dump on Facebook and have an album that
Mm-hmm.
you upload that has 200 random pictures.
Well, that's like 2 months later.
That was like 2 months
Yes.
later. But like I don't remember really checking it. And the reason I bring this up, and I know I brought this up in a couple episodes, but it's because I I feel like I'm talking to a lot of people and I'm hearing this when people feel like they're failing. And then when you ask why, they're like pointing to like other 23-year-olds have it together. No, they don't. No, they
Mm-mm.
don't.
Mm-mm.
I thought 30s was going to be like my magical time. I still think it's going to be my magical time. But like I'm 33 now. And I definitely thought at 28, y'all, even at 28, I was like, at 33, I'm having my shit together. And I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna be in this particular position and that particular position. And don't get me wrong, some of those things I actually did accomplish, but like I don't feel at all like I thought I was gonna feel at 33. I still feel 27. I don't know what COVID did. I do not feel like I age. And I was like, what, 28 when COVID started? 28, 29.
Ye- Dang, I guess so.
But I
I
really
keep
don't
forgetting
feel
you're
like
so
I've, I know.
younger than me. Yes, yes.
Ashley does the same too, where I'm like, because I'm 33. She's like, damn, you are young. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
when I was 28, I was pregnant, and COVID, I was definitely like 32, probably.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going back to like, I don't remember having those pressures. And I feel like now we do. And even now, myself, a lot of times, even myself, when I'm on social media, sometimes I do get moments where I'm like, dang, I'm not doing enough. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how's he in Belize for the third time this year?
Mm-hmm.
We are both social workers. Like, how is this making sense? I definitely have my moments like that. And I do think it's because we're seeing other people live certain lives and we're not getting all the details.
Yeah.
which I feel
Yeah.
like we always talk about when we're talking about social media. You don't get all
Mhm.
the details.
You don't get the pictures of the failures. Some people say, the bad stuff going on in their life, but not many. Like you see all the good, you don't see the failures. They could be depressing, post that picture, and that's all. So it's just like, I don't know. Even with me, like I do go out of town a lot, but y'all don't know what I be struggling with in between that. I have people, friends tell other friends, like, yeah, Johnny's living her best life. And Johnny is not living her best life. I just trouble sometimes because that
Be
is the
living
only
her
thing I
best
do for my
life.
mental health.
She be living her best life. Don't let her fool y'all. She be living her best life. But yes,
So,
yes, it
but I'm
is.
just saying, I'm not gonna me personally, I'm not posting on the bed press. Like you just
Yeah.
but I have my depressing moments. You just can't go off of social media. And I agree, the
It's making us
comparing.
Yeah, it's making me feel like you're not where you're supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I think exposure to a lot of things of what people can do is great. I think it encourages you. I think it helps us to realize, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I can dream bigger. I can do more. They did. I can do it. But for
Mm-hmm.
some of us, and not even just some of us, but sometimes it encourages, and then other times it makes us feel like a failure, and it makes us feel like we're not doing, and it takes us away from that realization you're in your own lane, and this thing is going to look different for you. But you have to like kind of recognize that some of this is going to be okay. I'm gonna do this at my own pace, at my own time, and so that means I might not be a millionaire, and that's okay. What
Mm-hmm.
what what do I want to do? What makes me spark? What works for me in my lifestyle? I want us to realize a lot of times when we're looking at people who we're like, dang, they got it all together, or I'm not doing anything. It feels like I'm supposed to be doing more. They did not necessarily say they were comparing themselves with others. I'm going this way because I feel like that's usually when I hear people talk about them feeling like they're not doing enough, that's usually the lane that it goes to, is usually a comparison to others. But a lot of times when we're looking at others, going back to what Nique said, we don't see the whole thing. The people who we look at as like the best and the greatest of all these things, we get this part of the story when they succeed.
Mm-hmm.
um, I had somebody really, really smart, amazing person once tell me and I was at a point in my life where I was struggling. I was in like my early to mid 20s, and they told me to start reading the books of people, the autobiographies of people who did things that I admire. They're like, you don't have to admire the person, but just read books of people who are known to be great people, who are known to have done great things. And the reason they told me to do that is because, and exactly what I ended up learning, a lot of the times these people, I think in our head we think again, these are the golden boys, the golden girls. This was the girl who always had the perfect skin, and she was always beautiful. She was the class president, beauty prom queen, and and then she got scouted, and she was a model, and then she got an actress, and now she's the most famous actress in the world. And yes, maybe for some people, but most people that's not the story. And as I
Mm-hmm.
started reading a lot of these people autobiographies, I realized for a lot of the people we consider the great, the first half period of their life, a long period of their life, was them being like the person nobody counted on, was the person that people was not checking to do great things, was not like,
Mm-hmm.
and I've told this story on here before, but like one of the things I think of about with Oprah, regardless of my opinion on her, Oprah has
Mm-hmm.
done some like great, amazing things for Black women,
Mm-hmm.
for Black women in the 80s and the 90s. But people forget that, like, when Oprah first came out, they clowned her. They told Oprah she was ugly. They told Oprah she was too fat. Like, people forget, like, she went through a whole period, a couple of years, like over a decade, of people like not being like, she ain't the one. No, yeah. And we look at her now, like, oh, that can never be me because look at her and she's so elegant and she blah blah. When she first started, like, no one counted her as that girl. And there's a couple other people like that. I even think of, I think I shared this on this podcast before. That one director, I really wish I remember this name, his name. I might not get all right, but I had read a article where she was talking about like all the career she got to before she became a director. And she was like, I never even picked up a camera to like record, to make videos of movies until I was in my 30s. And I think we need to promote more of those type of stories, because I think when you're on like TikTok and Instagram, it feels like all these 21-year-olds have figured it out. And you like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 35. How have I not? And it
Yeah.
makes you feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not where I'm
I
supposed to
know.
be. But there's so I think if you really look at it, you'll find the majority of the stories of those people who have gone on to do these great things, they weren't the people who had it all together at 21. They weren't the people who knew exactly what they wanted to do since they were in high school and they went straight for it. A lot of times people bumble along. Some people straight up fell into things and it was pure luck. But
Hmm.
a big part of it, and a thing I saw consistently in all those books that I did read, was the people kept believing, okay, there's something
Hmm.
there for me. And if I believe there's something for me, I'm going to act a certain way. Even when I'm at McDonald's, even when I'm, there's a certain purpose that's going to keep driving me. And yes, we do need to sit down and try to find a little bit of purpose because I think that's a big part of that depression. A lot of times when we were talking about depression, it can be for many reasons, but
Hmm.
a lot of times that feeling of like hopelessness of like, I feel like I'm just here, I'm just blah, is because we just don't feel like we have purpose. We don't feel like what am I doing? I'm getting up, I'm going to work, I'm feeding my kids, I'm, and I go to sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
And if it feels like that's going to be my life every day, yeah, I'm gonna feel hope. And if I feel like there's something I have to look forward to, I feel like there's something I'm getting closer to, then it starts feeling like, okay, I have hope again. I start feeling like, okay, there's a reason to believe again, all of those things. But you have to do the work to kind of do that. And doing that work is sitting there and processing what are the things that really make me happy?
Hmm.
What is my joy? And you might not be able to sit down and find it. That might mean I have to go out and start doing things to figure it out.
Yeah, instead of staying in your house and staying complacent, and even going back to like it was something circulating on social media as well, where it was saying like all these different ages of like the great people that the famous
Mhm.
people have. Most of them was like 40. Like it's like so it's just like you just don't know when your time will come. You can't keep sitting around and just being complacent. You can keep striving to get to that next level, but just don't
Yeah.
compare along the way, I guess.
I need to learn more celebrity names. There is
Me
this one
too.
Hispanic actor, Pedro Pascal, who like just recently blew up. I guess like he had a movie that came out like last year or the year before that, and like recently now everybody's like, oh my gosh, I love him. He's so funny, and they want him to see him in more stuff. And this man has been an actor for decades. Like he has been doing this. And I just looked it up. He is 49 years old. He didn't get his big blow up, his big, until later in life. And sometimes that's it. And so let that
Mhm.
be an encouragement because I do think sometimes when we, especially that 30, I'm talking to a lot of 28 and 29-year-olds who are just kind of like, I'm about to turn 30 and I haven't done anything. And I'm like, it's fine. First of all, you've done a lot. But also,
Yeah,
30 is not the end. 30 is not the end, y'all.
yeah. I think I definitely broke down at age 30. I mean, I had a lot going on at age
You
30,
did.
of course.
Yeah.
But I also was like, I had everything I needed to have. And then I'm like, it didn't work out that way. And just pick up the pieces and keep on going. Like, girl, I was like, yeah, I had moved back with my mom. And you just don't know. You don't know what life can throw at you. But you just pick up those pieces and do what you got to do in that moment to set up for your next come up. That's literally what life is about. But
It
yeah.
really, really is. But also going back to like her saying, like, oh, I just feel like I'd never be the main character. Also recognize you might be a main character of just a different type of book. I think we all, when we're thinking main character, because I've seen a lot of like TikToks on this, like main character energy, and it's always like almost like American Pie type main character. It's always just like, I want to be the hot girl who always like and are popular and everybody wants me, and that's the main character energy. But like that's of a particular type of story. You can be the
Mhm.
main character, and that's not what your main character has to look like. Your
Yeah.
main character might look different. My main character role might look like me just being at peace and being happy with my baby
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
waking up not depressed anymore, waking up just like
Yes.
enjoying life. And that's the book I meant. My book might not be
Mhm.
to be famous, to get money, to have a roster full of basketball players, football players, and
Yeah.
politicians. That's somebody
Absolutely.
else's book.
That's a good point. Yes, we're not. But like you were, like you were saying, how your main character in this story might be, spending time with your daughter. That was a good point because it was like, I strive to be like, okay, I want to go to my next chapter, being married, having more kids. But I'm like, right now, I could be okay with focusing on being happy and being present for my child and us building our relationship. So when the next chapter comes, we solid. We
Yeah.
solid. We got this bond and nobody can break. So it's just like going back to building up now for your next come up or the next chapter.
Yeah, because not every season needs to be on. Some seasons are
No.
your off season, and you need those off
Yes.
seasons. So to wrap it up, I think both of us are saying is that one, what do you think your main character is? Because also it might be you are looking for a particular type of main character, and does that relate to you? First of all, decide what you want the main character to be like, but then also it sounds like we are feeling like we are, don't have anything to look forward to. It sounds like we feel like we aren't doing the things that we're supposed to do. But it also sounds like you haven't figured out what it is that you want. And so our advice is start with what book am I even on? What chapter am I even on? What type of main character do I want to be? And then what brings me joy? And then let's create the steps to going towards that joy. For example, I even use my real life. Like I realize for me, I need creativity in my life to be at peace. And I worked a lot of jobs where I did not really have a lot of creativity or the type of creativity I was trying to do, like on the side and so forth. It was draining because I had such demanding, high, um, low pay, but high stress jobs. And so I had a point in time where I was like, no, I need to start doing stuff that allows me to do the things I like more and allows me to be more creative. And then as time went on, my things that brought me joy changed. So like earlier this year, one of the things that brought me joy is like one, I need to do more creative work, but also two, I need to feel more appreciated. Need to feel like what I'm doing is appreciated, isn't overlooked, isn't stifled. And another big thing for me this year was like I want to spend more time with my child. So I made career changes to get those things to happen. Not only did I make career changes, I made changes in my personal life to make that thing to happen. So like now, and I know you've done this too, this summer, like I got 4 flexible days where I'm in charge of how I work, when I work, and so
Mhm.
forth. And so my daughter, me and my co-parent, we share custody. And so when she's with me, there's 4 days. Me and her are going to the parks. We're going to the museums. We are, and it's not even about spending. We outside in our backyard playing because I was like, dang, I really realized she struggled a lot in school this year. I was in a position where I had a lot of stress last year. And so I felt like I was slipping. I was not, and my daughter was having troubles at school, and my daughter was having like behavioral issues and so forth. And I was like, I'm not, she's used to me being more attentive. She's used to me spending more time. And so I just made that pivot and I made that change because that's what brought me joy. That's what made me happy. Now I start feeling better again. I start feeling less depressed again. I start feeling more back to myself when I was like, okay, recenter, what is my joy? What are the things that make me happy? Okay, how can I align it? And I set out and really set to figure out a plan. And the plan wasn't perfect. There was some mishaps along the way and some stumbles, but I kept working towards it to get to the place where I'm like, okay, now I'm feeling happy again. Now I'm feeling more like life is worth living and I'm doing
Mhm.
these things and again, I know you did that. You took a summer off one time where
Yeah.
you spent the
Yeah.
whole summer just you and your baby having adventures.
Mhm. We was like doing memorable
Yeah.
things, like spending time together, getting to know her more, going to the parks, going to the water, the splash pad. But I'm just saying all that to say,
Mhm.
like, if you want it to happen, it can, and it's just okay. You just gotta have that, like, when your come up is there, you you bask in that, you take that in. But when it's just time to chill and get your ideas or your wants or your needs together, you do that too. You do
Yeah.
that too. So
So
it's that part.
sit, reevaluate what story you are, reevaluate what type of main character we want to be. And then let's sit and decide, okay, then what are the things that make me happy? What are the things that align with joy for me? And then let's start making a plan to work towards that. I know that sounds simple, but also when I'm reading through this, what I'm hearing though is I'm not doing anything. You're saying like, I
Yeah.
feel directions, I'm feeling stuck, but also I'm hearing I'm not getting out. I'm not doing anything. I'm not really. And so you got to get active. That is a part of it. And I think sometimes, especially if you're a person that's shy, if you're a person who thinks you're awkward, that feels hard. And it's like, no, I just want the answer to come to me. I don't want to go out here and talk to people to make it happen. I want to go out here and meet people to make it happen. I don't want to have to go out here and have these experiences. What if these experiences are awkward? That's a part of it. And when things are awkward, people do not pay attention or care as much as you think they do. Things pass. And even if they
At
do, so what?
all. Yeah, it's not on their mind like over and over and over again. It might play over and over your head, but nobody cares that much.
And
No.
nobody really cares that much at all.
No.
Things are always as big as we think in our head, especially the
Yeah,
little
that's true.
awkward, weird moments. People
Mm-hmm.
really don't usually be thinking about those.
Mm-hmm.
You can move
At
on
all.
from it.
At all.
All right, Nique, you got the next question.
Okay, so this one does not have a title, but I will go forth and read it. Okay. It says, okay, so a bit of a long story. I am 34, mom of two, and a widow, going on almost 5 years now. I am hesitant to get back into dating, but I am finding myself missing that connection and obviously the physical aspect of it. I feel completely out of touch. I focus on physical fitness for the past several years to try to improve my mental health, and it has helped quite a bit. And I love how I am looking physically now as well. How do I know I am ready? How do I even go about meeting men or women? I am leery of online dating sites as horror stories about them. Really just looking to connect and talk with people, even if it's virtually, to truly know if I am ready. Thank you for listening for any advice you may have. Okay. This one is it seems really similar to my life. Because it's just like, how are you supposed to find somebody? And actually, online dating does not work for me because I'm more in the moment type person.
She meet her man in the clubs. I love how you were trying to clean it up.
And
I love how you're trying to clean it up.
I definitely met my fiance in the club, but we will continue. um, like she was saying, she doesn't want to do online situations, but I found like just taking myself out to eat and sitting at a bar, I'll just start talking to somebody. Or you can go to concerts. This is just things I have found out that I can do because she's like, I don't want to meet online. And online is kind of intimidating and it gets kind of overwhelming to me. For me, it helped to go out to like concerts, take myself out to eat, um, join a class. Like I was looking on Instagram, like the run club. Like so she's in fitness, she could do something like a run club. Like it's gonna be men there, it's gonna be women there. You want to enter whoever you want to interact with. Just find like something that like a hobby that you might have and just join clubs. Just get out there. You can't stay at home with your kids. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to get a sitter and you're gonna have to fill it out. And even like if you join those clubs, it won't be so much pressure like I want somebody to like me. You could just interact and see how it goes and then
Yeah.
see how it feels just going out with friends and meeting other people and putting yourself out there. Not even putting yourself out there to get picked, just putting yourself out there to interact with new people and see how that feels again.
Yeah.
Because it is challenging. Like I know for it's been what 7 years, I guess. It's been 7 years since my late fiance passed, and it still sometimes seems strange. Like I do want connection and I do want companionship. I'd be lying if I just say I didn't, but I don't like her. She probably wants genuine companionship and
Mhm.
genuine interactions because especially if she was married or was in a long-term relationship, you just don't want to hook up. Like, oh, like that's just not what we want. I feel her pain, but I say you have to put yourself out there and just see how it goes. And you got to start somewhere. You got to
Yeah.
start somewhere. That's
I
my
agree
statement.
with Nick. I think she asks, how do I know if I'm ready? I don't think you know so you put yourself out there. I think even when we're not even talking about being a widow, I think if you just haven't dated in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
it is hard. It's hard, especially if you
Mm-hmm.
ain't dated in a long time and you found peace in not dating. Then you're like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yes.
I want companionship now. And you
Mm-hmm.
try to, and then you talk to them. And you talk
And
to
then
them.
you see why.
And you'll be like, oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you can find out without trying. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you can find out without trying. I get it. I had different experience dating apps. I don't believe in dating apps for like now. It's horrible. The dating apps right now are horrible. I hear horror stories about them all the freaking time. But I know in the past I've definitely have met people off dating apps and it's gone really, really well. I've met people who end up being very significant parts of my
Mm-hmm.
life. However, it is a lot. It is overwhelming, and it's hard to get lucky. You gotta get lucky, really. It's really about
Mm-hmm.
chance and luck. Like Nique said,
Mm-hmm.
Nique is great. Nique, if you take Nique out of town, men are gonna flock to her. You take Nique to a club, men are gonna flock to her. That is her area. Like
For
that's
some
the
reason,
for some reason. I can't tell you it's because you're not supposed to be in Ohio, but
it is because I
that's a
can be
whole
sitting
other
at the bar.
conversation.
I don't have to be at the club. I can sit at the bar at a restaurant,
Word
and
in
I'm
the South.
like, "You
The
gotta take me
South
there, honey."
works for you.
It does. It does. It does.
The
So
South
we
is
lucky.
definitely their area. But I do think that's a big part of it. Also understanding what is your areas. Like that's Nique.
Yes.
Nique South loves her. Nique, when she goes out to clubs, bars, that is her area. That is not my area. That is just
Mm-hmm.
not my area. But I do tend to like professional stuff. I meet men all the time randomly. Like if I'm just out about in my regular day, it could be to the park. I know for me, like places where I'm not paying attention, places when I'm not trying to attract men. I know for me more than like I'm probably gonna meet my person via work, but it's gonna be something probably professional or it's gonna be something unexpected for me. For me, it doesn't work for me when I go to places where it's specifically like we're going out to catch some men's.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not my area. It's not my flow. So I think also sitting, thinking about it, working now, okay, where is my flow? And then when you realize your flow, then putting yourself in those positions. So it might be now, let's go out and have some experience, have some girlfriends go out with you. Then you go out
Mm-hmm.
by yourself, try different places, try going to the library, try going to a bar or dinner by yourself, try going with girlfriends. Try the
Mm-hmm.
different areas and see what works for you. And when I say work, it does not just mean where you're getting the most numbers, where you're meeting the type that you want to meet.
Direction. Yeah. Yeah.
Like for me, I know for a fact, I like my man intelligent and I like my man talkative. So I know there's certain places like I'm probably not, it's not that they don't go to these places, but I'm not going to be able to tell which one of y'all are the talkative,
He'll
smart
do it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But put yourself out there and in regards to meeting folks, go to places you like, figure out where you get the most like interactions with the type of people that you like. Because I believe this person is bisexual. They said men or women. So where are the type of people you like actually hanging out?
Yeah.
And there's a content creator on Instagram that I do. I don't think I follow her. She ends up on my For You page a lot, but she also uses like astrology. Like she used like astrocartography to see like, okay, what areas will I do better at for love? For her, it was I think career. So for her, she was like, where will I be more successful career wise? Wait for my career to take off. And so she started going to conferences in that area. She started, and then she ended up eventually moving to that area. And like she
Mm.
got a job there and so forth. Not everybody believes in that, but like also explore the different things. Explore the different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like my astrology one though, because mine is just always like career. And I'm just like, I'm a therapist. That's illegal. So I'm not trying to figure out
Mhm.
like, what does career mean? Do we am I supposed to go to conferences? We shall see. We
Just
shall
like
see.
on the conferences.
I'm just not going to look, look. If somebody with money can just be like, here's this contract, I could be like, you're tall, tatted, bearded with mommy issues. That's my husband. 90%
We're
chance
not
that's
speaking
how
that
my story.
anymore.
That's
We're
how
not
my
speaking
story
that
is gonna
anymore.
work out. And then 3 months later, we gonna be married. We're gonna keep it secret. I'm eventually gonna have to forcefully be forced to tell y'all.
Exactly. I'm gonna know anyway, because I'm gonna ask.
I know, but so those are the options. How do you find out if you're ready? You gotta try.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest way to know when you're not, because people are like, okay, but I'm out here trying. How do I don't know? I feel sure. If you are going out here though, and you realize like, talking to them is triggering me, or I feel very emotional, or maybe it might even be like I'm up here talking to them, and all of a sudden I'm just like, they're not my ex, they're not my husband, they're not. Then maybe we need to take a step back and go, okay, what things do I need to do to prepare myself emotionally?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going and you're like, okay, this is fun, this is good, this is okay, he's not the one, but maybe somebody else, then I think that's the kind of the green light of, okay, yeah, you're ready.
Yeah.
And the places, get yourself out there, figure out what's your type, even maybe possibly speed dating,
Yeah. Yeah. That seems like a fun thing to do.
but get out there and try.
Because that would definitely put you out there to just like have conversations. And it's
Yeah.
nothing serious. It's just like, oh, let me see how this goes and get you back into the idea of dating.
Hmm.
Good idea.
All right. So I got the next question. Mine does have a title. It is um, I am involved with a married man. I am involved with a married man. I am a 25-year-old woman who has been approached by one of my colleagues, a 35-year-old. He is married and has 2 kids. I do not have any feelings for him, but he does. He was pretty clear about it as well. And he do not want to harm me or create any problems in his wife's life as well. He just wants to talk and spend time. Sometimes if I give permission, then he wants to touch me as well. Thus, today we went together for work. And he looked so lonely and utterly lost that I took a leap of faith and let him touch me. But now I'm feeling really guilty about it since from the very beginning, I didn't want to be involved with a married man. What should I do? I know I did wrong, but I don't know what to do. Can someone give me a different perspective? Because now I feel like I'm a slut.
But you have this. Look, okay, go ahead.
Stop it. Set up boundaries. And it
Hmm.
sounds like, honestly, what I'm getting from this is sometimes I get bored and I like the attention. And so sometimes I play around with it, even though I don't even want this man. And
Hmm.
today because he was down, maybe he wasn't giving me the same energy. So I let it go past a certain line. I normally don't let it go past. Recognize that it was wrong, recognize I don't even really want that. And now I'm trying to figure out how to undo this. Set a boundary. And sometimes setting that boundary is actually having a conversation of like, yo,
Hmm.
that was really inappropriate on my behalf. I'm feeling really weird about that now. I just want us to put some distance at work. Even you know what? I'm now recognizing even our conversations aren't cool. I'm gonna put some distance and then put yourself some distance between you and them.
Yeah.
Like you
That
have
has to
full
happen.
control
Hmm.
over this situation. You're saying he didn't even try. You are the one who then let him touch you because he was feeling particularly down that day. Put up a
Then
boundary
do
and
you
then
want
respect that
to?
boundary.
Hmm. But it sounds like it's that boundary is going to be hard for her to respect herself for some reason because it's just like you're letting him emotionally dump on you for no reason. Like he has a whole life. Like you're so just like I feel bad for him because he was feeling bad, so I let him touch me. Um, I don't know. So it seems like it's gonna be hard for her to set a boundary. That's all I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it's hard for you to set the boundary. I mean, but even all my things are going to be boundary setting because, like, then just cease the relationship. You're feeling bad because you did a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do now? You set a boundary. The boundary can be have the conversation of, hey, that was inappropriate on my behalf, on both of our behalf. Why don't we to get some space, or just give each other space? Period. You don't necessarily have to have the
Have to have
conversation.
the conversation. Just stop. Just stop. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all I got.
Is that no? I agree. Like you're feeling bad, you can either just leave it alone altogether. But that guy could be like, no, it just like to me, it kind of seems like she might be scared and he can talk her back into some stuff. But it's all coming back to like, how do you feel after? If you don't feel good after, let's not keep doing this.
Mhm.
Let's stop
By
before it gets too far. I don't know.
By the way, I also feel that way about just sex in general. I
Yes.
want to throw that out there. If you
Yes.
are engaging with
Yes.
somebody and afterwards you feel bad, I just want to throw that out there because I
Don't do
recently
that
had an
shit no more.
interesting conversation with somebody where I just want to be like, hey, that is probably a signal from your body that about this
Mm-hmm.
interaction. And maybe let's stop and think about why my
You're,
body, every time we interact sexually, sends me red flag alerts and like, no, don't do this.
mhm. You need to listen to your body. And it's as if like you try all these different things. It's like the same way. Or just feeling emotionally drained
Yeah.
afterwards. Because sad sets will bring that sad shit from that person to you.
Look,
So just to be emotionally drained, like it ain't the one, sweetheart. Like I don't know. Don't keep trying. I don't know.
I Ashley talked about this in like I think sometime last season. She brought this up where she had an interaction like that where she was like, I was having sex with this man and I was feeling so drained all the time. And then later she was like, and I realized this because I feel like this man is just transferring his sadness to me. And that's something real. You have to sit and evaluate that stuff. Like, dang,
I believe
a
that
minute
so
after I immediately
wholeheartedly.
feel, let's talk about it.
Yes. And then I start going to depression mode. And I'm already empath. So it's just
Yeah,
like that's even more image. So it's just
yeah.
like that's a sign. Don't let it happen. And then that person, and then the thing is, guys are guys. Women probably do this too. I don't know. But guys will come to do that for that reason. This person will help me get this shit out of me.
Look,
Emotionally dumping.
look, I again, y'all know I am all for the girlies who are wanting to have experienced their sexual liberation and freedom. I
Mm-hmm.
support that all the time as long as everybody's adults and consenting and
Mm-hmm.
knows what they're getting into. I'm supporting all of that, but I support that. But like, yeah, they're and we've talked about this several times, but like if you're noticing, dang, every time they're sad, they want to have sex, or every time they're angry, or if you're noticing it yourself, like when I get really, really sad, I'm like, I need to fuck on something. Like, let's, hey,
Let's put a different
let's take a
name.
break there. And let's,
Yeah.
because also
Yeah.
I'm a big believer sex is a energetic exchange. And
Mm-hmm.
so also if you are tying in sadness with it just it can get into a big confusing ball that your therapist has to help you unravel it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's just think about that. If you are
Yeah.
recognizing that is a pattern, whether it's with your partner or with yourself, that's a thing to be aware of.
And it's still okay to be liberating, but you don't gotta be get all this depression from that. I'm just saying, yeah, just saying, just saying.
Mm, mm. Anyways, so the answer is put up some type of boundaries and stop talking to that married man. That's
Mhm.
the advice. Leave that married man alone.
Because you don't want to get caught up. Like a touch is a touch, and then it goes to more, and then you
All
might
this
become
for a
pregnant.
man you
Like,
do not like on top of that. Like this isn't I have
yeah.
such a crush on him and it's so hard. This is just like there's Bob. And
Uh,
I ain't doing nothing else.
Bob was looking a little sad today. Like, who cares about Bob? Like,
I offered up
okay.
titties. Bob was looking sad and I was like, hey,
Uh,
titties. Perk up. Oh gosh. Also,
oh,
she's 25. Her brain hasn't fully developed, but you old enough to know better.
nip it in the bud now.
And leave that man alone. Also,
Like,
you don't know his wife is shooter. Like, y'all stop. Stop. Y'all do not know some of the people y'all dealing with. Leave him alone for moral
that's
reasons,
it.
but like also you might be
Yeah.
protecting your life.
Yes. You don't know. You don't. So, so just don't do it, sir or ma'am.
Don't do it. And every woman might put you in a jar. You don't know. You
You
don't know.
don't.
All
Yes,
right, you got the next question.
I do. So, okay. Again, no title, but so it says my ex of 2 years recently asked if I wanted to have dinner. I agreed. This came after I reached out to him a year or so ago. He ended things to see if we could meet. My intentions began, my intentions being to try again. He agreed to talk via text first and ultimately decided not to meet me and ended it with he will always have feelings for me, wish me the best, etc. It was at that moment I finally decided to let go and move past this. Got myself into counseling. It was doing great until 4 months ago, he sends a random text, just a link to an article about something he clearly knew I would know about. My favorite golfer being disqualified with a laughing emoji. I ignored it. What the hell? You told me you didn't want to see me. Well, in May, we started talking a bit, just like conversation, and not often. He's now asked me to dinner. He said he is excited to see me and catch up. What does that even mean? I still love him. Catching up in parting ways will be hard for me. It would be too hard for me to be friends also. Confused. I'm just
You already
laughing
know my
because
feelings on this.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because you're like, well, Nique, well, this is Nique.
This is you. This is you. And that's why you know my feelings on this. Okay.
Like, okay, hers is a little different because, like, it's like if you know it's gonna hurt you, don't do it. You had to go to whole counseling for that. Let's not do it. Let's not let him back in to hurt you another time.
Word.
He's already told you, yes, I have feelings for you, but this ain't it, sis. The man could just be bored and trying to get some reassurance from somebody who he know will give it to him. So don't do it. Don't do it. But I have done it. And it's just like, here we go again. Here we go recycling again. And it doesn't even really work. So you know the reason that y'all separated and you know it's because of him, why put yourself back through it? I think for me, I kind of get caught up in, bro, that was me anyway. So I'm back. But I'm just saying, like, if it's hurting your feelings, like it's gonna hurt. She has come a long way. So what? Why are we like investing in this again? Why are we getting heartbroken again? Why you gonna have to go pay some more money to go see therapy again? If yeah. And like you always say, he ain't coming with a grand gesture. What are we doing? What are we doing? He's just coming to which he's probably bored. He's probably bored. And you're just there and you're always there.
I mean, here's my thing. I am not big on exes getting back together. I'm not a fan of
Mhm.
it. I have in recent years been like, okay, if it's someone that you do still love and the problem for the breakup is something that is workable now, maybe it wasn't then for several different reasons. It could be we lived in different cities, we were in our 20s. It just didn't make sense. Again, now we're in our 30s, and that makes, that's something workable. If it's something workable, sure. But again, I'm a big like, you need to come with a grand gesture because I need to know you're serious because of things exactly like this. People will start getting your hopes up and texting and talking, and then will
Mhm.
stage you up, or will then lead you back into the same thing, or will tell
Mhm.
you all these things. I miss you and I love you, and the whole time I was with her, I was thinking of you. Blah 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 blah. Just for them to then do the same thing, or for them to get cold feet and all of a sudden pull out, or all of a sudden when you guys been talking again for a couple months, you're like, okay, so let's just get back together. They're like, I don't know. Last time it didn't work, and so I got some. You hurt me, so I got some fears, trusting myself with you again. Bullshit. Bullshit.
And why we wasn't together. The other girl hurt me too. So now I really don't know how to be in a relationship.
And you was with that
Like,
one dude 5 years after we broke up. You posted him like that wasn't gonna hurt the boy. The things I'm not a fan of getting back together with the exes. I personally have never seen it work. And when I
mm,
say I don't haven't seen it work, what I don't mean is I have seen people get back together, get married, and blah blah blah. I have not seen it work as in you get what you thought you were signing up for. You might get back together if you thought y'all was going to get back and everything was going to be magically fixed and together. And now it's y'all together trying to prove it to everybody else. This was a good idea. Now y'all back together, and it's because that man is old. He need a caretaker, and he
mhm.
know you still love him. And every other woman has passed on his bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. So I'm not a big fan of it. But just again, if there's someone you do really love, and you are like, no, it's worth it. Again, what type of effort are they putting forth? If it's bare
Mhm.
minimal, I personally don't believe in going for it. All you can do is send me a little text and I miss you, boy. And I get it. Sometimes you have to start with a conversation. They might not know where you live. You might have, things like that. I get that, but I personally believe if you really miss me and been thinking about me this whole time and you really realize you made a mistake, make a grand gesture to people.
Mhm.
Use it in words and just hey, let me take you to Applebee's. Okay, that's what the dude from the app is doing too. He only know me for a week. Apparently, you've been thinking about me for the last 5 years.
Exactly.
Show it.
Exactly. And then
Show it.
it is like always the same stuff over and over again. Got all this time to try to change. Like,
All right. And also, don't come back if you told that those 4 or 5 women after me that I was crazy. But you've been
exactly.
missing crazy. But you've been over here missing crazy.
You have.
Personally, my advice is to leave it alone. My advice is to not figure out what it means. Um, I think we get ourselves spinning in a circle, trying to come to the why.
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to like old relationships. I feel like that's something I see a lot. People are like, I just want to know why. I just want to know why they hurt me. I need this closure. Or what does it mean? He sent me this cryptic text. He he watches all my stories, but he doesn't say anything. It doesn't matter.
Don't mean nothing.
It can
Doesn't
mean
mean nothing
absolutely
at
nothing.
all.
It really does not matter.
Even if they're looking, it doesn't mean that they're gonna change.
If you're
Just
not going to, again, give me a grand gesture to let me know like you're serious,
mhm.
I'm not trying to decode nothing. Also, at this
Mhm.
point in time, X of 2 years, nah, come to me factual with words, gestures, and an actual plan. Don't come to
Mhm.
me with messages I got to decode and figure out. Nah, because that sounds like you still
Yeah.
on games.
Yeah.
My suggestion is leave him alone. You said that he reached out, he wanted to meet up, and then just randomly just decided not to, and then did not hit you back for 4 months.
Mhm.
Leave it alone. That man was not
Mhm.
serious. It really feels like to me, and it can be lots of things. I was also a person who used to do this thing, and to be honest with you, when I did it, I used to do it out of boredom. I was like,
Mhm.
but I know he loved the hell out of me. I miss being loved.
Mhm.
That man looked at me like the star. I
I
made of
miss
stars.
just hearing that, "How are you doing, beautiful?"
Yeah,
Like, you miss that, but it's just like and
man
that
used to
ain't
look at
breaks
me
the
like I'm made out of
diversity.
stars. These men over here,
Yeah.
they know I'm human. I don't like that. I don't like this man. I don't like this person who made me feel like I was a god,
Think I'm
goddess.
queen.
So then let me
Sheba.
come back over here for a little bit, and then I'll talk to you eventually for a little bit. And be like, oh yeah, because I don't like you.
Once y'all start getting together, then no,
Mm-hmm.
this ain't it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm glad I figured that out. But then that person is just distraught.
yeah. It really, to me, it sounds like he doesn't really know what he wants.
Mhm. Mhm.
And every now and then he goes, well, maybe I should try this again. But it feels like from the details you give me, you didn't give us a lot, but from details you give me and from the situations I have seen, it just feels like you are about to sign yourself up for another 6 to 8 months of therapy.
Yeah.
You might have a fun 2 or 3, maybe 6, maybe a year.
Mhm. And then he go dust again?
So maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months for
Yeah.
fun. But eventually it feels like we're gonna be back in the same place. And so why?
Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
restart this?
Mhm.
That's all I got.
I agree. I agree. There's no need to go back. But again, for a person that boundaries is hard, setting these boundaries for myself is hard.
Mhm.
And she's probably like, in a person that's like teeter totter, like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I already know she probably about to go.
Oh,
All
all
right.
right.
Okay. I digress.
All right. We got the last question.
Yes.
This question goes, are there safe people? That's the time. My life has been fraught with people who have hurt me to my core. I am at the moment trying to cope with my biggest hurdles, fear and trust. These are big stumbling blocks in my life. I'm afraid, anxious, and insecure. I have never been more acutely aware of how much I need a savior. I don't want to need one, and I would do anything to save myself. But I honestly do not know how to keep living whilst my head is barely above the water. There are cracks in the deck. The ship is sinking, and I am determined to not let passing ships see. Bombs penetrated the hull. It set off a raft without a paddle, a ship without a sail, and no means of navigation. Every man let on board turned mutinous, and damage was done every time one forced his way on board. It is not now seaworthy, bits of wood held together with tape. Is there such thing as safe people? And I really wanted to pick this one because one wants to just start off by saying this is normal to want safe people. And it's also very normal that if you have had a life where you really haven't had a lot of those people up until now, that it does not feel real. It feels like everybody else is faking it. It feels like, well, then again, maybe something's just wrong with me. I don't get to get it. Everybody else
Mhm.
gets to get it. And a lot of times is that our life circumstances set us up in such a way that, for example, when you are a person who grows up in an environment, let's have to make me do some therapy. All right, let's talk about like childhood. Our family and the experiences that we have in our childhood really model to us like relationships and stuff, right? Those are the first people we're interacting with. It's a big part of, again, Freud got a lot of things wrong and they got a lot of things wrong, but he got some things right. And we are seeing our parents. They're the ones who model relationships for us. They're the ones that show us. You pick up on what love is by the people in your household. What does your parents' love look like? What does their love to you look like? What does love feel like among your household, among your siblings, and so forth? If you grow up in an environment you don't get that, a lot of times what happens is we go out into the world, and even if we recognize that I don't want that, those people are bad and harmful for me, and this is not with everybody, but a lot of times what happens is we go out into the world and then we meet people who have that same energy. Right. And if we go up in a toxic household where people who aren't unsafe, when we meet people who have that same energy, it feels like home. And
Mm-hmm.
so we gravitate towards those people, not
Mm-hmm.
recognizing home was not safe. So yeah, it feels like home. It feels comfortable. And it's weird because like, I don't know why. I just feel so comfortable with them. And I just naturally flow with them. And it's
No,
because
toxic as
you know
hell.
how to operate in toxicity. You know
Mm-hmm.
how to operate with those type of folks. Even if you didn't
Mm-hmm.
like it, even if it was hard, you know how that works. And so sometimes we meet those folks and then we just naturally gravitate and wow.
Yeah.
And then it feels like, why do I keep having this repeated pattern of these toxic people and
Mm-hmm.
these toxic things in my life? I must be
Mm-hmm.
the problem. And it's not so much that we're the problem, it's that we are conditioned in a certain way, that there's certain, again, energies that we feel comfortable around. And if you are at a place where you know that and you recognize that, you just keep repeating that pattern. You keep meeting people that feel like home. And again, for a lot of us, it just feels comfortable. It feels like, oh, I'm not flow with these people. I feel comfortable with these people. Not recognizing I feel comfortable with them because I feel comfortable in toxic mess.
Yeah.
So I am
Or
attracted to
it can even go to traits as well.
them.
Like, yeah, like traits. Like, say my parents, one of my parents are having like a really bad trait with spending money. So
Mm-hmm.
I like this person doesn't have a lot going on. They're really horrible at that part, but I'm like, well, it's okay because
Mm-hmm.
this is how it was at my house. Like, and we are still okay. So it's just like you can even just go to like the little like you can
Yeah.
like your people can have a whole bunch of good stuff, but you can just cling to like that little bad thing and be like, well, it's okay because this is how it was.
Yeah, for a long time, I dated men who are emotionally unavailable, but both of my
Mm-hmm.
fathers were both very intelligent, well educated, good job having emotionally detached men. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize that because, again, they would tell me they love me, they would pay for my stuff. They would show up like, okay, baby girl. But also, like, one of my dads would do a thing. Like, if I pissed him off or made him mad, he would go days without talking to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, we'll see him in the same house and would drop me off at school, would not say a word for me for a week as punishment. And I, for a long time, dated men like that. Not necessarily things like that, but men who were well educated, good jobs, things like that. And but they weren't emotionally available. Like things will be good, we'll have fun, they'll, all this stuff. However, when it came to things of emotion, they would just shut down. And
Yeah.
at the time, I was shut down. So it was cool. Let's both shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, when you grow up in that environment, it teaches you how to behave.
Just never know. You just never know how to talk about it or never want to talk about it. But
Mhm.
what for? What for? We're okay. You know what I
And it
mean?
felt normal. And I knew how to
Yeah.
operate in that, but I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
absolutely hated it, but I kept falling back into it. And I had to recognize, okay, what is my part in this? Oh, I'm also emotionally unavailable because I grew up in an environment that taught me that, hey, the less you say, the better. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to
Mm-hmm.
get your needs met in very sneaky ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to we had kind of the same upbringing in certain ways, not
Yeah.
all together, but
Yeah.
like bits and pieces of it was like, yeah, I understand,
Hmm.
sis. I understand. So
Hmm.
yeah,
And
calling both of us out.
I appreciate the team dragging. But yes, I said that to say, like, so when you grow up in certain environments and so forth, you attract a certain energy you feel comfortable with. And so that is a part of, again, why it seems like this might be happening over and over. Because you might have grown up in a way where you feel comfortable in toxicity. Also, there's some inner work that you have to do as well. It might
Mm-hmm.
be while we're saying, can I ever meet a safe person? Are we a safe person? We have to also work on being a safe place too, because
For
safe
sure.
people also want to be around other safe people.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's also bring that part into, are we a safe person? Are we a person that's emotionally volatile? Are we a
Mm-hmm.
person that shuts down and is not a safe place for other people to come to? And because if we aren't one, when we meet those folks, they're going to be like, red flag, and they're going to back away. But those other folks who are also on the same page as you, they're like, yeah, on each other. Let's do this,
Mm-hmm.
twin. Let's do this, twin. And that's what you see happens. And so, are there safe people? Yes, but let's recognize, when do we feel safe in toxicity? And that's why it's hard. And that's why we keep attracting toxic people. And that's why we're not having safe folks. Are we a safe person ourselves? And if not, let's do some of those inner work, inner healing, so we can be our own safe person, not only for others, but we need to be safe for ourselves. And when
Yeah.
I say we need to be safe by ourselves, what I mean is, are you your biggest critic? Are you your biggest bully?
Oh, yeah.
When you are, this is the last episode with Nique, y'all. I'm doing this with you. I'm not gonna keep doing this with you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
But going back to, like, yeah, but like, when you aren't safe for yourself, it's hard for you to be safe for others. It's the same thing of, like, going back with trust. If I don't,
Mhm.
to build trust you with others, you have to first learn how to trust yourself. And if you're like, okay, well, I think I trust myself. How would I know if I trust myself? Can you validate yourself? When I trust myself, I can validate myself because I trust what I'm saying to myself. But if
Mhm.
I can't validate myself, what that means is, like, if I'm nervous about stuff, can I be like, Rush, you got this. You been got this. You're good at this. You're getting these things because you're good, not because you're lucky, because you deserve it. Do I believe that? Do I immediately go, but if somebody else tell me I believe it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that. Do I trust myself or not?
Yeah.
Going back to, do you trust yourself? And then once you learn how to do those things, trust yourself, it's easier to trust other people. Because also, going back to that trust of self, that's going back to, do I trust myself to be resilient? And when we're talking about resiliency, we're talking about, do I trust myself to bounce back? Because when I trust myself to bounce back, then I can trust myself to put myself out there, to meet new people, to find safe people. Because
Mhm.
since I have that self trust, since I have that trust that I can bounce back, even if I go out here and I try to meet a person and they disappoint me and I find out they're not safe, it's not going to be the end of the world, because I believe that I can have my little moment of being sad, have my little moment of being depressed. I can have my little moment of crying, but then I also trust that I can put myself back out together, back up together, like Humpty Dumpty, and get back out there. But you have
Mhm.
to be able to build that as well.
I agree with like the trusting yourself because that's something that I think this year I'm really because I keep telling you like this year is so much growing pains. It's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. So it's just like trusting myself and like making decisions and sticking to them or trusting myself to know who's safe and know who's not safe and relying on that and not going back on it. Like
Yeah.
staying firm in that. Like I had to do a lot of boundary work this year and just staying firm on my boundary. You said this boundary, stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to it. Stay, follow your intuition. Follow that first voice, not the second, third, and
You
fourth. That's
love.
questioning that first one because the first one is always right, especially with me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with me, it's just like, girl, stop beating yourself up by not listening. Even like my therapist recently said, "You, oh, okay, noted. You want to bump your head a few times." I'm like, damn, I do.
I'm so glad you back in therapy.
Yes, I just agree about just trusting yourself. And you really can't find nobody safe until you trust that yourself is safe and build that relationship with yourself. You really cannot get far.
Yeah.
And I'm just learning that. I feel like even going back to childhood, it was like if you are always told what to do with having no voice, you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
You never was trusting yourself as a kid because you didn't have a time, chance,
Mm-hmm.
or place to do that. So it's just so much confusion. Like, who do I listen to? You don't even know how to listen to yourself. So it's just like trying to figure that out.
And this is like a little off point, but like, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I want to throw that out there so much. Like, I'm still working through this parenting. I have
Me
not
too.
got it
Me
figured out.
too.
My little baby marches to the beat
Sometimes,
of her own drum. So the books don't always help.
oh,
Not.
and sometimes I still got my mom and my daddy in me. I'm not gonna lie, I do, and I have to check that in me. Like
Mhm.
that didn't work for you, so don't force that on her. But
Yeah. And going back to like what you said of, like, when you are a child and no one ever gives you a voice, like, no, it's just do what I say, do what I say, do what I say. Y'all, we really got to stop doing that with our kids. I sit in and day out and talk to multiple clients where that is a thing. Like, we end up having to
mhm,
break it down, and it is a matter of, oh, you never got a chance to express yourself and find yourself. Because mom and dad have been telling you who you are since you were 5. And that
Mhm.
one time when you was 16 and you were like, I think I'm an artist, they were like, nah, you are going to be a doctor. You are a doctor. You don't like it does so much on your self-esteem. It does so much. And I get it. I think a lot of times with parents and parenting, it is, I don't want you to go the wrong way.
I went through whatever.
Yeah, and we've seen that, and I get it.
Mhm.
I'm always kind of like a little terrified because I know some of the things I was doing in my teens and in my early 20s. And I know certain situations I put myself in that I was just like, for some whatever reason, the universe wanted me to be here. Because I definitely
Mhm.
put myself in situations where
Mhm.
I could be dead several times. I could be in jail several times. I could be in a really worse off position several times. And I got lucky. I got some powerful ancestors that was just for some
Yes.
reason were like, okay, look out for her little dumb ass. Like for some reason, it was
Mhm.
really watching me. And I think sometimes when you have that, it makes you want to hold on real tight and be real strict and
Mhm.
controlling with your kids because you're like, you got my DNA. There's a chance you're gonna be out here trying to wild a little bit, and it's not safe to wild. It's getting more and more
No,
dangerous.
way
And so,
more.
and I get that, and I get
More.
having that feeling, and I battle with that all the time, but it causes so much damage on your kids' self-esteem, and it causes the type of damage that can take them decades to undo when you
Mhm.
don't let them have their own voice. It's not saying let your kids say whatever, do whatever, but it is give them some leeway. Get to know
Like
who
talking it
they
out.
are
Yeah.
personally, and also parent them based on
And
family, not based on
yeah.
what you were missing in your childhood.
Mhm. And also allowing them to get to know you and your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because we thought they were so hot in it, make mistakes. So it was just like, I gotta be up here and nobody's up here. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
anything they went through. And I wish I did. You know what I mean? And it's all a repeated cycle. It's just the unlearning of each generation
Yeah.
is getting a little bit better, I think. But
And maybe
these are
not
just
all the mistakes. This is where me and you differ in our childhood. I got to see a whole bunch of my parents' mistakes. And
I didn't really, yeah.
I did. That created other issues. So, maybe not all of them.
But like the past stuff, like when they
Yeah.
become a teen, this is what I did when I was here. I don't want you to go through this. You think that's okay?
Yeah. I
I
know.
got
And I was going to say, I recognize that because me and you have had this conversation several times throughout the years of like, you feel like I'm scared to not live up to the certain level in my parents' eyes
you.
because they did
Hmm.
it this way. They did, I got it right. It was perfect. And I feel like I'm not doing it that way versus my parents was like, girl, they did great and they made it work. But Lord, was there some mistakes? Was there some
Hmm.
all types of things. All types of things. Again, that creates different issues. But I do recognize that I didn't have that problem where failing for me was not a problem. It was just kind of, okay, well, what's the next thing? And I think that's why when I was young, it was easy for me to get up and move. It's why it was easy for me to be like, I want to do this. Let me just try it because I saw my parents fail and then be like, all right, well, that didn't work. Let's bounce back. Let's do something else. And then I saw that succeed. Then I saw this fail. And then I saw also that have imperfections here with family or with marriage or with friends or whatever. And it helped me kind of be like, oh, okay, it's a part of life. But yeah, so do let your kids, find their voice and so forth. I know that's a little off subject, but I do think that is big. And then after that, once we get working on that self-trust, once we get working on recognizing, do I feel comfortable in toxicity? And if so, let's do the inner work of like, okay, let's talk about some of the things that I notice I'm comfortable. Am I comfortable around emotionally unavailable men? Am I comfortable when people don't do confrontation and they just hold everything in until they bust? Or am I the opposite? Do I feel comfortable with consistent confrontation? I don't know how to compromise. I don't know how to be like, you know what, because I love you and because this isn't something that's big and harsh. Okay,
Hmm.
this is what you need, fine. Or do I feel comfortable in fighting for every single thing? Figure out what those things are and figure out those areas you need to work on and do that. Because as you were talking about, yeah, you have let some people on board and it has been horrible. It has felt like bombs penetrating the hull. All of that. I promise you, when you start doing the inner work and you start recognizing, okay, what are the toxic things I feel comfortable in? What are the toxic things I participate in? What are the toxic
Hmm.
cycles that I see keep being repeated? And then you start doing the work to stop them, to start seeing what are the things you can do to pull yourself back from them. I promise you, you'll see a drop off from those toxic people in the past. Also, you'll find you're not attracted to the same type of folks. You're not
Yeah.
attracted to the same type of things. And you'll see that you'll start bringing new type of people, new type of energies in. Because one, you won't even be able to tolerate certain things anymore.
At all. At
There's
all.
just certain things that like you'll feel uncomfortable in.
Mhm.
Like for me now, it feels so uncomfortable for me to like now I'm since I broke. I used to just cut people off and have conversations. I would get very overwhelmed, and
Mhm.
because I was not used, I grew up in an environment where you did not talk about your feelings, or if you did, it was not. It's not in a way that I know how to talk about them now. And so I used to just cut folks out. And like now, I feel uncomfortable when it's people I'm close to. You can still get the scissors very easy. We're not close. I don't like to waste time in what I feel like is pointless engagement and conversations with folks that I'm like, we not even that close. Why do I have to
Mhm.
exposure? I'm not big on that. But even as of recent, like I've come to you to be like, hey, this is a thing going on with this and this with me and this friend right now. And I need to figure out a way to talk to him about it. And I'm like, okay, am I coming off right? Is am I right to be concerned about this? Is this, am I stepping a step too far? Because now it feels uncomfortable when I have an issue with somebody that I love and I'm not addressing it. It feels uncomfortable to me because it's like I love them and this is something that I know is making me want to push them away and remove myself from them. So I need to say something. It feels weird for me not to because that's no longer
Mhm.
how I love. So you'll
Mhm.
start to do the changes and because you're doing those changes, only people who are okay with those type of healthy things are going to be there, are going to be attracted to you, want to stick around. And
Yeah.
again, those who are a part of that old negative cycle, it will feel off for you. It will feel so
Mhm.
uncomfortable for you that you will remove yourself from
Feel
those.
bad tasting your mouth. Yeah.
I do want to throw before we end, that's one thing I do want to throw out there though. As we're talking about safe people, I want to also throw out there as a reminder, safe people aren't perfect people.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
something I feel like I also have to work with people a lot through. Sometimes we are with people and they are safe people, but they're humans. So they mess up. They have their mistakes. Y'all have y'all disagreements. Y'all have your moments where you're like, that's not consistent with what I know about your personality. You have these little things, and then we quickly want to just to protect ourselves, take away that safe label from them and then demonize them a little bit in our head.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's something we have to work on as well. Safe people aren't going to mean they're perfect. It's not going to mean they're going to
Okay.
always do right. You got to
Okay.
look at though, for the most part, is this a person that has good intentions? For the most
Mhm.
part, is this a person that's trying? For the most part, is this a person who values our friendship and tries to do better, not only for us as a friend, as a partner, whatever. Like you have to look at those things because I definitely have also seen we go out here, we do some healing, get some safe people, and then they do things because they're humans, or we do things and we immediately want to rip it away the minute they do something that disappoints us. Because again, wanting to protect self, and we got to do some healing around that as well. They're going to be safe people, aren't going to be perfect people. But are these people that are trying? Are these people who are putting in effort? Are these people that have good intentions and the effort that they're doing?
Mhm.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Definitely wrap this up. All right, guys. So that is all we have for today's episode. You can find us on Instagram as She Wolf Alchemy. So we ask that wherever you're listening that you like, follow, and share. If you're gonna leave a review, please leave a review with some words. We appreciate you for listening, and we'll have a new episode for you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.